It's Cassie and Chris with SONday Chronicles. We just kind of want to do a spontaneous video. This is episode 14 called What's the Point? So, Chris, what is the point?
I don't know.
And we're just kind of not ad-libbing this, but we're just talking.
Yeah, this is a freestyle. The point. Are you asking me the point of life? Back.
It came back.
Every time. So
yeah,
are you asking me
life?
the point of life?
What's the point of life?
Some would think the point of life is to... Do you think it's more of like an accidental, purposeless life? Do you think that's what truly people think?
Yeah, I mean, there's all different views. So some people really think and I may be wrong, but I think existentialism kind of is like that.
Just
like there is no point.
Yeah, there's no point.
So there's different belief systems and perceptions, like we talked about last time. But
I guess the two major points of view. There's a large percentage of the world who...
large percentage of the world really truly thinks that the purpose of life is as far as you can get ahead, as much money as you can make.
Yeah.
Maybe to hurt others in the process. It's a selfish
type work. Yeah.
Purpose. It's a selfish way of life, but that's part of it. That's what the purpose. They feel that their whole reason for being here is just to see how much money they can make at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And we see that, and other people have different views. But what's your...
I don't know. I think that the purpose of life is what you make it. Right? It's like what you make of it. I think the way that I see it is it's since we're all a fragment of the source or the creator or God or whatever you want to call the original vibe, we're all like a big Voltron. and when it comes together, it is the universe. And I think that that's the way the universe or the original source gets to experience itself.
We were all created through a thought.
Yeah, I mean, that's fascinating too, that creation in itself was thought.
Mm-hmm. But sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Keep going.
So all being the big Voltron, you're you, I'm me, but we are, as Muji would say, a monologue.
Well, yeah, I think that makes me think of how I think there's different perspectives. There's different dimensions, densities on this planet. You have 2D, 3D, 4D, 5D. Something to look into if this is catching your ear. But each so like 2D would be dogs and 1D would be plants, right? That's those kind of something like that. For example, let's say, but each group of people, each soul is trying to discover themselves.
And being that
trying to figure out why you're here.
The true self, the higher self. This is our vehicle, but the actual higher self has been here since the beginning and will continually to be here because energy cannot be destroyed or created. Therefore, it always is. I think that we get to go through each one of those levels. I think that we get to be a rock, or we get to be water, or we get to experience life through that
process.
Have that, and then eventually you get to this form. You're conscious. You have the ability to question, and I think this is the final level of experience, and then you go above and beyond this specific density and it's forever and it's infinite.
That's where life is eternal, and that's why
eternal,
it can keep going.
Yeah.
There's a great quote about I've died too many times here to ever actually experience a death kind of thing. You know what I'm talking about? Something like that.
Yeah, that's the walk of the actual.
Some people's beliefs are going to be that all there is we're born and we die.
Yeah, I mean, you're thrown here. This is a different perspective. Would be the actual opposite of that perspective. Is, who does it say? Alan Watts, was it, that he's like, if when you look up at the sky and you see the universe and the planets and the stars and the sun, stars with the planets orbiting around them, do you think that they all each have a purpose? Do you think our moon has a purpose? Our sun has a purpose? Our planet has a purpose?
I thought you said
did I say that?
Yeah, I thought you were going with the Ellen Watts quote about you think we actually are just born and dead and that's it.
Okay. The planets, I don't know. If I did say it, then cool. Or do you think they're just willy-nilly? You think they're just fucking flying around? No, they have a purpose. And they're an example of us. Do you think nature has a purpose?
Well, every single being on this planet, in this universe, in this
omniverse, including this Earth,
has a purpose.
Has a specific purpose.
But
I think if there are any movie producers or anyone out there that are involved in the movies, I have a movie premise of, and I'll give you a brief description of it. It's the moment that you know, is it the 26,000 or 27,000 year cycle? Look this up. Of the golden age, the dark
25,000.
age. 25,000. Every 25,000 years, this story repeats itself, and we're entering into the age of Aquarius, or the golden age. That's where the shift is occurring that everybody's getting to experience, and that's something you should be grateful for, regardless of where you are in it. But you're getting to see it. The movie premise of the moment that whatever being tipped the golden age and introduced the selfishness aspect, and how that it's the opposite of what we're going through now. We're, as you can see, it's moving from that selfish state to a selfless, unified.
That's why so many things are coming out and being brought to the surface, because it's
being
getting
told
rid of the truth.
Yeah.
Full disclosure is going to start happening, and then
there's a lot
into the golden age. Right now, we've been in the dark ages for a while.
Yeah,
and if you go back, do your own research and look back and look at the cycles. It's amazing how history repeats itself. It's not just a kind of cliche saying. It's true.
History repeating itself.
Is that a song?
Yes.
Okay.
It's a great song. The actual answer to life is 42.
That's another movie.
It's a great movie. Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
But I forget who wrote the book, but that's obviously where it came from.
Yeah.
Okay, so
the moment that the whoever entered, somebody's got to say, okay.
Are you still talking about your movie?
Yes, I'm still pitching the movie. It's fascinating. I'll get down to I have to write it, but I have the idea. The moment that goes from the golden age to the dark age, there had to be some sort of introduction to selfishness. And why did it happen? Who instigated that, going from a unified...
I'm sure if you go back and do research, though, you're going to see who came to power at what time, at what parts of the world, and that's where it's introduced.
Yeah, like we've talked about before, the priests,
Egypt, Amun, and it's happening again now.
Sumeria, if you want to go back even further.
But back to the original question.
What is the point?
What's the point of being here? How do you...
I've
seen a lot of posts lately about talking about anxiety. It's like just anxiety this. I remember when I was so anxious. It's almost like memes poking fun at anxiety. And that's totally great, but the purpose of... I hope the point... People start learning the point isn't to be, in my opinion, consciously or constantly anxious, angry, all these things that are...
They're preventable.
Yeah. There's... It's... that's
living
just some
right
people
now.
seem like the more stressed out I can be, that's the reason I'm here, because the more stressed out I am, the more successful I am.
It's the more busy I am too. That is a perspective, though. That is.
If your heart is truly happy, that's the question to
Sure.
ask yourself. Whatever you're doing, if you want to ponder the point of the universe, do it. We do all the time, and we've come up with what our heart has told us, and by looking inward, what we have found. But do it. If you don't, cool. But that question, that's part of human nature. It's part of, I think,
everyone
any creature
is
reaching to know why we're here.
Why am I here?
And you just have to go where your heart draws you to, as far as if you keep seeing synchronicities, keep seeing things pop up in your feed or whatever it is, and you're drawn to it, just go to it. It's trying to tell you something.
And study. We always say study, but what is the point? What is the point? What is the point? My point, some people are put here to help people understand their purpose.
Other people are here, unfortunately, to hurt people in order to, I don't really know, but in order to cause
some people
the
have
planet to move forward.
some
Basically
people
what I'm
have
getting at is...
But you got to respect that purpose.
No,
I know,
but it's always going to be that way. There's always going to be, quote, good, quote, bad here
as
on
we
this
can
planet.
Start to transition, though, that's going to slip a little bit.
Yeah, it's going to...
You're seeing it now, but what is the point?
This is all you, because I don't really know what else to talk about.
Like I said before, it is everyone. It is the nature is the blueprint for humanity.
Start paying attention to nature.
It is the blueprint for today. We had these winds come through.
Winds of change,
the
winds my friends.
the winds of change.
It is. Things are changing. Big things are happening. If you're sensitive to these things, you feel it.
I like to ask people this question when we talk: is when is the last time you heard a bird chirp? That's a lot of people don't pay attention to that, and it's a simple question, but then if you ask yourself it's kind of like, oh shit, maybe.
And that is the point. Is to slow down,
to pay attention to nature so it can speak. Yeah,
and to listen to your discover that you have a higher self. I think that's something that what the purpose of life is. It's just discover that life is eternal, and you have a higher self, and you are.
And there's a reason that you're here. I think that is when you find your purpose. Your that's soul. When it's like, whoa, okay.
Because otherwise, you may be aware of your higher self, but then if you can't figure out this purpose, it's like, what's the point? So really, I think what we're also getting at is find your purpose, because follow your heart. Following your heart is, we say it all, everyone says it all the time.
If you had all the money in the world, what would you do?
Start manifesting what you want and start going towards that. Register a name of a company you want to have. Do these things, because the harder we were created by a thought. Mm-hmm. It's like, how are we all here? Where did this begin? The chicken before the egg? Or whatever.
Can I answer that question?
Yeah.
Chicken before the egg. The chicken came first because something about this eggshell. It's a fascinating thing. Look that up. I can't remember how it goes, but I just read that the other day. Chicken or the egg? I'm sorry to interrupt you.
No, that's okay.
I'm just trying to make you lose your train of thought.
Thank you. I'm sure people love watching that. Let me think.
What is the point, Cassie?
I believe the point, as I said, is to be aware that you are, your body here is just a vehicle. So your soul, and you look back at the Bible, Colburn Bible is a great read too.
Kolbrin.
It's an ancient book, and it's just
about 6,000 years old.
You will read it and relate to it
there's no books omitted. It's a very fascinating.
But now you made me lose my train of thought again.
What is the point?
No, I'm getting at it. But to know that you're just a vehicle. This body's a vehicle here to learn and grow, and help this planet. The Earth is a learning planet, and knowing that you are going to suffer when you're here. It's part of it. It's part of growing. It's part of learning who you are. Depending, how you look at it. Many people have chosen to come back here to help. if looking into like reincarnation or whatever you start looking into, it's fascinating. And go with what your heart tells you. You know what's true.
You know
you
the truth by the way it feels.
Always remember that with whether
With
it's
everything.
talking to a person or a discovery that you make on your own.
Yeah.
And I really think everything we're talking about is the point. This is the point.
Yeah.
It's to expand our consciousness, connect with others, and realize that we are all connected. I mean, once you really look at it, we are...
Voltron.
We are that vast thing that we look far, far away with telescopes. That's one of my favorite Alan Watts quotes. Like, we are what we seek. That Rumi quote says it too. Yeah. What you're seeking is seeking you.
Yeah.
Everything is trying to know themselves more.
And another thing, it's not deep. A lot of people think that the shit we talk about is kind of like, whoa. It's right in front of your face.
And once you start becoming aware of that, you're going to start being like, oh my gosh.
It really is. Oh, shit.
Musicians sing about it all the time. Yeah. Movies are covered in it. Star Wars is... Star Wars.
Yeah, but rewatch Star Wars from a metaphysical point. Oh, I also want to be involved in. I'm promoting myself tonight too. I also want to be involved in one of the first groups of science and metaphysics, and that blend.
That's already happening.
Yeah, well, if anyone out there is a part of that, I would love to be a part of the metaphysical side of that.
That's also part of the point, is these things, these discoveries. It's just discovering more of who we are and why we're here. Why do you think humans have a fascination with space? It's because that's where we came from. These things were all part of it.
Why don't you think we've ever been, like, out of our why don't you think we've ever been past Pluto? Why do you think we've just realized that Pluto is a planet? It's not meant to go there yet. You know why? You don't deserve it. When you're at a lower density vibration to where all you want to do is nuke other motherfuckers, have wars, fight over oil and all this other stuff. It's a very low density. There are other beings in this world that
when you raise your vibration, that's what we're talking about right now, densities. So you're raising your vibration and trying to improve yourself, grow, do all these things. You will have a direct line with the source. You really are talking to God, because you're part of. So you're open, your mind is clear, your heart is clear and open. You're going to be receiving your intuition messages, however you want to look at it, that are going to be positive things to help this planet. And so if
your purpose.
more and more people are raising their vibration and there's more positivity, it spreads. Yeah. And because of that, more things would be happening sooner, such as going to further planets, because it's that reciprocal thing we talked about before. The more you give, the
more you go
get,
in.
It's all
and the more the collective, all of us, start to become aware of this.
This is that interconnectedness.
The higher the vibration of planet Earth, and we're buzzing.
And really, everything's energy. We've talked about this before too on here. Everything's energy. So when you start to look at everything as energy, things start to make a little bit more sense. They don't seem as, that's impossible. Well, nothing's impossible.
Cassie, if you were a 12th dimensional being, just say some like super advanced being, and you had your craft and your whole thing, or maybe you're just traveling through whatever, would you visit Earth? Or would you be a little afraid? Because you don't want to have to go down there and kill a bunch of people, because they're going to shoot weapons at you? Or would you rather deal with a higher vibrational group of people who believe in equality and love and are open to every,
Well, I think anyone would rather deal with that.
The second one, yeah.
But,
what is the point?
I think we covered a lot of
things. I think
the
point is the purpose. I think your purpose is your point.
See, and I think the purpose here is to discover yourself and to raise your vibration. So, because you have to be aware and awake in order to
do your purpose.
So I guess they're kind of one and the same.
Yeah, they're one and the same. I think the number one thing that's going to start to happen is people are going to start to, they're going to start seeing examples.
And we're already seeing a bunch of them right now of
Of
things,
negative and
the negative
your
things
positive
that
side.
even if you had certain views or you have certain views, you're kind of going, ugh,
It's
at
kind of
what's
like
happening.
you're
would
going to
think.
turn a blind eye.
I would think, but
And then there are going to be those who hold on to the end. And that's the way life is.
Because people have closed minds, and that's what happens. Or everyone's perceptions are different, and they can't. And some people can't go beyond themselves.
Sure.
Some people really don't believe in extraterrestrials. Some people don't believe in. Oh, the baby gotta go. But
Yeah.
wrap up. I'm good.
What is the point? I think that's it. I think it's it. The point is what you make it. Whether you want to travel the selfish path or whether you want to find your purpose, work on yourself, and learn, and then leave. Cool.